All right. Thank you, Mr. Bruno, for joining me in this conversation.
My pleasure.
So I guess just to start, maybe you could just share some background information about you. Like I just said before I started recording, I met you through people that you've worked with at the 21 convention, Elliot Holes, Jesse Lee Peterson. And, you know, I admire what you do, that you help other men really with life. And if you could just share some background information, just maybe short history about you, what you do.
Yeah, I have a background in doing therapy. That's what my education is in. I spent 22 years doing psychotherapy and counseling, inpatient, outpatient, doing psychiatric evaluations. I got burnt out. I fell back on a trade, which is cutting hair, which is my family trade. Everybody in my family, mother and father, cuts hair, so I learned how to do that. And that has been wonderful. My grandfather back in the 70s said to me, always have something you can do with your hands. Like, okay, so you're going to college, but have something you can do with your hands. So for me, that's cutting hair, which means that I can go anywhere in the country and get a job. And you could put a parachute on my back, drop me off anywhere in the United States. By the end of the day, I will be working. I will be creating cash flow. So that's my background. I am a professional coach. I work with men only, no women. I don't do therapy. I don't focus on the past. It's all short-term, solution-focused work on helping men get unstuck in life. I have a YouTube channel, which is my name, George Bruno. I have a daily newsletter that everybody needs to sign up for. If you go to georgebruno.com, get my daily newsletter. I am very diligent about sending that out. It's probably the most useful newsletter you will ever get on a regular basis.
Yeah, just to add to that too, you're also on Facebook, the George Bruno Experience, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Yeah. Well, based on what you just said, what's the reason you don't work with women, if you don't mind me asking?
I want to specialize in men. What I'm not is a master of all trades. Most of the men that I've worked with, a lot of their problems have come from women. So if I'm going to be honest with myself, I really need to focus on the solutions and not who is causing the problem. Now, many men misappropriate women. They've been raised to think that their life has to revolve around a woman. And really, your life needs to revolve around yourself, not a female. I find that when women want coaching, they want validation. I'm not into validating a woman other than my own, the females in my life. That is it. I don't need to be validating a woman who is a complete stranger to me on a professional level. That's the first thing. Second thing is this: I help a lot of men get out of relationships. I help men get divorced. Not just the guy wakes up on the wrong side of the bed and says, that's it, this marriage is over with. I'm talking about the guy that has been in a marriage a long time. They've gone for counseling. He has just been berated, belittled, and gotten his balls chopped off. He needs to grow a pair, and the only way he's going to grow and have a fulfilling life is if he leaves that marriage and or relationship. I help men get out of relationships. That's one of the things that I do. You don't see a lot of people doing that. Everyone thinks they can wave a magic wand and help repair a relationship. I'm talking about the relationships that are so far gone. People have cheated, there's been drug abuse, there's been physical abuse, and they're just not good for each other. And neither one is happy. So I help men get out of those relationships. If I helped a woman get out of a relationship and the man in her life finds out that another man is helping her get out of that relationship, he's going to think I'm the cause of it and come after me. Let's get real. Men never like to take full responsibility for the shittiness of their relationship. So men know that a woman's girlfriends are always chirping in her ear. So he'll blame everything and everybody but himself. and will not take responsibility for himself when it comes to failure of a relationship. I don't want to get stuck in between a woman and her man, a wife and her husband, when she drops the truth on him and says this relationship is over with. So
Fair point. And to add to
Yeah.
that too, now you said that you don't like to focus on the past. And what's the reason for that? As that's like the big thing, dive into the past and years of therapy and digging in. What now? Why don't you go into the past?
I did that. I've seen people for years at a time. Rarely works. Plus the fact I've had to give people a diagnosis, and people end up kind of living up to that diagnosis. For instance, I hear people say this all the time: my depression, my diabetes, my obesity, my acid reflux. It's like, stop taking friggin' ownership of these diseases. Stop it. It's not yours. Okay. This watch, this is my watch. This is my watch. And you're not going to take it from me. It's mine. I worked hard for this watch. This is my watch. People say the same thing about their pathologies. That's my depression. You're not going to take it from me. It's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. We're going to have a very bad therapeutic relationship here. Therapists, they even refer to that when they talk with people. Well, first of all, let's talk about your depression. So a therapist is reinforcing that with people. Don't take ownership of pathology. Let's move to the future. Let's get unstuck. The past can be used as an excuse for anything. Anything. There's been identical twin studies of one guy is a CEO and very successful. Another guy is in and out of jail his whole life. Identical twins, raised by the same father, raised by the same parents. The choices that they made. They talked to the CEO and they said, you know, what do you attribute to your success? He says, well, if you had the kind of father that I had. They talked to the guy who's in and out of jail, the brother, and he says the same thing. Well, if you had the kind of father that I had, your past can be used for a springboard for success or for failure. What do you want to use it for? So I say, let's not talk about the past. Let's talk about the future. Most people have a past. You know, the only people that didn't have a past are Adam and Eve.
Yeah.
When you think about your past, everybody has fucked up. Everybody has fucked up. And the only time that I like mentioning the past is when I can get you to take your past, take all your fuck ups, and make the skeleton dance. Take your darkest shit, turn it around, and make it work for you. That's it. That's what I call making the skeleton dance. That's the only time that the past is of any use to you, is when you can turn it around, use it as a springboard. Focusing on the past, you end up moving in the direction of your most dominant thoughts. You focus on the past, you stay in the past.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
So what is it to be a man in your view? As simply as put, and obviously it's complex, but
yeah. To be a man, let me finish that sentence. To be a man in 2021 is different than being a man in 1970 when I was growing up. To be a man in 2021, my mother would say, get out, or in 1970, get out of the house. Dinner's at 5. TV's not going to be on. Get out of the house. Come back at 5 o'clock. Now people are just in front of a video game or a television until 5 o'clock. My mother wouldn't even let us stay in the house. She recognized the value of boys. There's 3 of us boys. She recognized the value of getting out, digging in the dirt, climbing a tree, having a impromptu ball game in the shopping center parking lot, using crushed soda cans as first, second, and third base. Swinging at a ball with a stick, with a broomstick. I mean, she recognized the value, and my father did too, of riding your bike through the woods on a path. You get a flat tire, fix it. Fix it. You don't know how to fix it? Here, I'm not gonna fix it for you. You're gonna watch me. When I say wrench, you hand me the wrench. No, that's a pair of pliers. That's a wrench. Okay?
Yeah.
You're gonna help me take the wheel off. We're gonna take that tube out. We're gonna patch that tube. We're gonna put it back in. We're gonna put the tire on. We're gonna adjust the wheel. We're gonna make sure it's true and that it spins straight. So next time you get a flat tire, guess who's doing it? You'll be doing it, and I'll be standing alongside you as you do it. That's not happening today. So men aren't becoming men anymore. I specialize in men getting traction in their life. Like, I don't deal with a lot of the pathologies, porn addiction, sexual abuse. I wouldn't even know what to do if a guy told me that, his scoutmaster was sucking his dick for 3 years when he was in Cub Scouts, and now he's 35 years old, and I'm the first person told. I'm like, the fuck do I do with that information? So
Yeah.
I refer people out. I'm the referral king, and I'm not afraid. I know a guy that deals with sexual abuse, a therapist, coach kind of guy. I don't know what to do with it. Like, I just don't know what to do with that. I refer that guy out. Another guy, been looking at porn since he was 9 years old. For me, porn was a gnarly, falling apart Playboy magazine in the woods that you kept in a paint can. You buried it in the ground, and then you went in the woods and you dug up the paint can, pried the top off, and just looked at it.
Yeah.
And you looked at the same magazine for a year and a half until you found a new one, or one of your
Versus
friends.
now where it's just instant gratification.
Yeah.
Whenever you want it.
Whatever.
It's,
Yeah, exactly. And it's everything from A to Z, on your phone. So every possible kind of sexual thing. So, now there's 18-year-old guys that are taking Viagra and Cialis because they can't get it up. An 18-year-old with erectile dysfunction. I mean, I've had a boner since I was about 13. Just nonstop. I don't know when it's going to go down. I have no idea. There's 18-year-olds who can't get it up because they're so desensitized to what is beautiful, to what is precious and set apart for them.
Yeah.
So,
well, I guess maybe
you should
go
not
ahead.
be dealing with erectile dysfunction at 18, 19, 20, 21 years old. So I know a guy in Lithuania. He's like one of the world's premier experts on helping guys beat porn addiction. So when I get a guy that says he's addicted to porn, guess who I call? Lithuania. And he's an American guy living in Lithuania. So that's what I do. I'm not one of these coaches that, it reminds me of therapists when I used to work as a professional therapist. I work with depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, eating disorders, anorexia, bulimia, and I'm like I have a Toyota Tacoma, and I take it to a Toyota guy. I don't take it to a BMW guy. I take it to a guy who could work in my car with blindfolded. You know what I mean? He's a specialist. So not every mechanic can work on every single vehicle. So, and not every coach or therapist can work on every single problem. So I have a very specific thing that I work with. Stuff that I don't work with gets referred out. Simple as that.
Yeah, that's what I appreciate too about the 21 convention, because I went to one of Elliot Hulse's grounding camps, and his whole thing is bioenergetics, moving the body. Whereas, Jesse Lee Peterson, his thing is really connecting with your parents, forgiving your parents,
Forgive your mother. Yeah.
Forgive your mother, disconnecting, being your own man. And I appreciate how, everyone's going to have a different way of leading to that inner, logos or inner
That's
self.
Inner logos is good because that means divine order.
Yeah.
You know, what you're meant to be, what you're meant to be. Simple as that. A lot of guys will say stuff like, you know, well, a lot of guys will ask the question. This is always a trick question. You will get asked this sometime in your lifetime. You know, what if your daughter wants to paint your nails? I say, that's not what men do. I know guys, oh, I let her paint my nails. No, you don't. Because men don't paint their nails. Girls paint their nails. So what a great teachable moment. What if she wants to put a ribbon in your hair? Men don't put ribbons in their hair. Put a ribbon in mommy's hair. Let's go get mommy. And let's put a ribbon in mommy's hair. Let's paint mommy's nails. You know, what a great teachable moment. It happens at such a young age. You know?
Yeah.
So no gender bending, no gender blurring. So what does it mean to be a man or be masculine in 2021? To have the distinctives of masculine nature. Simple as that.
Yeah, and I wanted to also talk about, I mean, as far as, I mean, growing up when I was in high school, we had sex ed, and sex ed essentially was, here's a condom, good luck, you know? And
Yeah.
as I've gotten older and had my own fuck ups in life, the big question for me now, and I actually recently heard you talking about it, is sexual transmutation, where it seems to be you have this one idea where it's basically sexual repression, sex is bad, don't ever talk about it, nothing. And then on the other end, you have, you know, pride, and you have, there's nothing wrong with sex, and there's no limits, and, you know, complete sexual expression. And what I'm noticing is, you know, it seems to be that sexual energy needs to be harnessed. And I think you had mentioned in a video, I believe is when you were talking in Germany, and you were talking, or I believe you're Warsaw, Poland.
Warsaw. Yeah.
And you were talking about harnessing that energy. What would you recommend to men on how to do that? Or is it just as simple as self-discipline and delaying gratification? Or,
well,
you know, if you
a lot of that is just a big self-discipline and you know, that's all circle jerk. Transmutation literally means, okay, if you're so friggin' horny, okay, you have sexual energy. All energy in men is sexual energy. So I call it wolf energy. We wanna fight. We want to reproduce. We want to hold down our wives and inject life into them. It's built into us. You know, I think about, you know, God didn't have to make sex feel good. Okay, it could have just been insert A into B, and 9 months later, you know, a baby comes out. Instead, he made it feel good. That incentivizes, makes me want to do it. Okay, put that in me. I don't want that to be held down. Okay, so form follows function. You learn in biology. Structure complements function. You know, our sexual apparatus is meant for a reason. We could have just, you know, a skittle could come out of our dick, and we could just place it in the woman, and, you know, instead we fuck, and we look in each other's eyes, and there's a bond there. Something happens, and she feels you inside of her. You feel yourself inside of her. She feels you, your life, leaving your body, that life force, that seed going in. And something happens there, and you're making eye contact with each other. That is why the woman who's had eye contact with many guys, some women are just so damn aloof. It's just sick. It's just like it's crazy. They put on a show for us. That's all they do, because we get so entertained by a woman getting off. You know, that's now part of the act, is that she has to have her orgasm. You know, we love her on top because it's so visual, such a show. And, you know, when a woman breaks up with us, I always tell the guys all the time, you don't miss her, you miss her body. You miss the pictures. You miss the pictures. You got to throw away that shoebox with all the pictures that's in your head. I was telling someone the other day, I can picture if you say to me, Katie, I know Katie's breasts come to me right away. When you say Liliana, I can see Liliana's breasts. When you say Jill, I can taste Jill to this day. She had the sweetest tasting down below that I ever had.
Yeah.
I mean, just name a girl's name. Carla, best breasts I've ever seen in my life. But my mind is polluted with that. And I spent my whole life comparing breasts and asses and vaginas and legs and lips. You know, this one banged great. This one over here gave the most amazing BJs. It's unbelievable, you know, and it's like my life wasn't meant to be like that. I know that for a fact. I just, after having been there and done that, and being an older guy now, looking back on that, I remember what Michael Foster said. He says he has a very high notch count with one woman, and I love that. Love that.
Who is Michael Foster?
Michael Foster. He's Pastor Michael Foster out of Cincinnati. He's part of 21 right now. He spoke last year. He's a good guy. He's about 40 years old, but you know, he married his high school sweetheart. And there's a lot of guys in the men's community that would say, "Oh, he's cheated himself out of all these experiences." Not at all. Not at all. Like he says, he has a very high notch count with one woman, and I love that. I love that. He doesn't have all that confusion in his head, and we get confused. Let's get real. I mean, you know, let's say you date a girl, you go out 3 times, coffee, a drink, dinner, and then she flakes on you. You're like, the fuck? Like what the fuck? That's girl A. Girl B, coffee, back to her place, fuck her brains out. Next night, it's a drink. She comes back to your place, and she sucks the chrome off of your bumper. And then third night, you just have the most amazing, insane XXX sex. She lets you do anything you want, whatever. On the 4th day, she flakes out on you. You're like, what? What's, like, I can't believe that. And it bothers you more than the girl that you just had coffee with. Because sex is a bonding tool. It hurts more, or it affects you more when you break up with somebody, or someone breaks up with you who you've had sex with, versus just like the friendly chick that you took a walk with and got ice cream. So that tells you about the power of sex, a relationship. You know, when I look at a woman, I look at a field. I'm looking at a field, farmer's field. Do I want to be planting seeds that 10 other farmers are planting seeds in? God, no. Never know what the hell's going to spring up. You know, what kind of crop is going to come up.
Yeah.
I want to plow that field. And I want my seed to go in that field. And I want that field to bear what I plant there. Sex for men is different than sex for women. A woman who's had sex with 20 guys is different than a man who's had sex with 20 women. That woman has had 20 men's life force injected inside of her, sprayed on her, ingested, swimming in it, bathing in it, put a black light in her bedroom. The place looks like a crime scene. That's the reality. Something happens to a woman who's had sex with a number of men versus the man who's had sex with a number of women. Men and women are built so different. We're built so different. But one thing we do know for sure is that sex is a powerful force. Men will swim a shark-infested ocean and climb over a friggin' volcano to get laid. The shit that men will do, men will drive for 3 hours after swiping right on Tinder or Bumble and meet some chick, spent a hell of a lot of money only to have her say, okay, well, maybe we can do this again sometime.
Yep.
So yeah, it's a powerful force, but no one has taught anyone this. Everybody makes all their own damn mistakes. We make children out of wedlock. We hurt ourselves. We damage our hearts. We damage our minds. We put images of breasts and asses and vaginas in our head until we just become like this garbage dump in our head, which affects everything. Sex isn't
Guilty.
as casual. Yeah, sex isn't as like these oxymorons like jumbo shrimp, government intelligence. Okay, both oxymorons. The biggest oxymoron is casual sex. There's no such thing as casual sex. Yeah. No such thing as casual sex. I will not swim a shark-infested ocean for a peck on the cheek. I will not, but I will do it for 13 seconds of pleasure.
Now, when you had said in that video, channeling that energy into your work, I believe you had said, what did you mean by that in that clip?
For instance, a dude that is horny. It's like, all right, so just give me some horny push-ups right now. Like, drop down and give me 20 right now. Because you got that in you. You know, if you're in a bar with a chick and there's a bunch of guys hitting on a girl, only the lazy beta will say, oh, I don't stand a chance. The lone wolf says, fuck that, she's mine tonight. And he does what he has to do. Okay, so he channels his energy, channels his physiology. He stands in between the guy that thinks he's an alpha. He takes the girl by the hand and says, come on, follow me. Let's go somewhere where we can talk. She says, oh, thank you for rescuing me from those idiots. Ding. So channeling the energy now into work. Think about this. The sexual energy will make a man fight, give him confidence or false confidence. It'll empower him to do things that he doesn't normally want to do. When you think about, the hell is that movie with John Cusack standing with the boombox over his head playing the song for that like men do stupid shit to win women over. You know the one I'm talking about? I'm
not sure of it.
Yeah, it'll come to me what the name of that is, where he's just trying to win this girl back. Like the shit that men do to win a woman back is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? If you took that very energy and like worked on a cure for cancer, shit, AIDS would be cured in a week if we channeled our sexual energy into that.
Yeah.
Sexual energy is physical energy. It's not just mental energy, it's physical energy. That's why after a night of being a player, nothing happens, the guy has to go back home and whack off. He ends up painting the ceiling because it's just there. The energy's there.
Yeah, and that's what I think about. Like, it's like, is that, for me, the question becomes, when is it repression versus channeling? And I feel like it seems to be a very, very fine line, because at a certain point, that energy is going to come out other ways. But there's a part of me that feels like if it's constant expression, shooting shit on the wall, it becomes, it doesn't help you level up. It's almost like because it all starts with a thought. The second that thought comes, it's leading to that action, where it's almost a process of reprogramming. And I feel like people learn through two ways, which is why two ways: either curiosity, when we're children, we're asking our parents, we're trying to figure out the world, and we're only learning as much as they know. And then pain. And as we experience pain, we say, okay, maybe I need to navigate through this differently. And that's why if I were to tell someone who's 17, don't have sex before marriage, they're going to say, yeah, okay, because it's my ability to convey that message to them in a way that's received. And that's ultimately what I'm trying to do in my life right now. And it seems to be, on what that different, it just seems like such a fine line between repression and transmutation, getting to that place where I don't need it. I don't, as you had said earlier in the talk, I don't need validation, right? It's not a, it's
When I was 13, well, when I was young, when I was prior to 13, elementary years, I wanted to become a priest. I loved church. Loved it. I loved the smell of church. I liked the music. I liked the solemnity of church. I loved the readings. I loved liturgy. And then 13 years old, puberty comes. And I'm thinking, maybe that priest thing has to go for a while. Okay. So I lived my life from 13 to 60 years old, which I am now. Okay. So I've had a boner since I was 13. And I'm still thinking, only recently, well, maybe I can become a priest, you know. And then I think to myself, nah, not yet. Not yet. I got to wait till that urge is gone. So I think if you're going to not use it, I think God will give you the, this is my opinion, God will give you the strength to not use it. I'm 26 years old. I say to a pastor, when does this end? When does this end? He says, when you die. I'm like, gee, thanks, pastor. And this is like an older guy. I'm like, damn. And I get it now. Only now do I get it. Only now do I get it.
yeah.
You know, I was telling someone the other day, like I was banging this chick back in 2009. I used to wear a cross around my neck all the time. Gold chain, crucifix, looks cool, shirt open, got the cross right there. And I'm banging this girl in 2009, and she's moaning and groaning. I'm on top of her. And I look down, and there's the crucifix in her mouth, like dangling in her mouth. Because I forgot to take it off and put it on the nightstand. Because that meant a lot to me. That's where I struggled. I love the Lord. I love the religious life, but I also like fucking. Okay? So I had a crucifix dangling in a girl's mouth as she's like moaning and groaning and screaming and getting to that point. And so I kind of back off. I take it off, put it on the nightstand, finish the job. I never wore that cross again. So I was making a mockery of it. I said, screw it. From now on, the cross will be in my heart, not hanging around my neck. And that was a huge, huge moment for me. Huge moment for me.
Yeah.
So I like to look at it this way. Our sexuality is like a gorilla in the driver's seat. When you're a young man, that gorilla is right behind the wheel, man. His foot is on the pedal. There ain't no brake. Okay? That's probably till you hit like 40 years old. After 40, the gorilla is in the passenger seat. When you hit 60, like hit 50 to 60, the gorilla's in the back seat just making suggestions to the driver. Okay. All right. Right up until about 50 years old. Right up until about 50 years old. I was just a lean, mean fucking machine. Period. That was it. Didn't matter. Didn't matter. One of the reasons why I stopped was logistical, because I was just so fucking tired of like doing laundry. Just tired of like washing my sheets all the time. I hate that. When chicks come over your house, they always leave a clue. A lipstick, earrings on your nightstand. I have furniture in storage right now. I got this one nightstand. There's at least 20 pairs of earrings in that nightstand.
My ex used to call it nesting.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So I can pick up and go, okay, that's Carol. That's Carla. That's Anne. That's Angela. You know, and I was like, holy shit. Holy shit, I can't believe I have a top drawer filled with earrings, because girls always take their earrings off, you know, before they put them on the nightstand. And then they always leave without them. Okay. So here I am having one girl over with the long blonde hair. Women always use your hairbrush. Women always use your brush. They don't use their own. Where's your bathroom at? Down there. It's the last door on the left. Okay, they go in the bathroom. She just starts brushing her hair before she comes out, hoping that the long blonde hair is in your brush. Okay, the next day, the brown hair girl comes over and says to me, whose long blonde hair is this? Good thing I've got a daughter with long blonde hair. Oh, that's my daughter. When my kids come over, they use my stuff. Oh, okay. Does your daughter also leave her panties on the back of the bathroom door? Oops. Oops. Or the brown hair girl's in bed with me, and all of a sudden her toe at the bottom of the bed, she pulls her foot up, and there's a panty on her big toe. I'm like, oh, shit. So that life gets old after a while. It's fun. You end up pissing off a lot of people. You could end up getting Me Too'd. You make a lot of enemies. Every time you go through a breakup, you got to have angry sex. So you like end up hurting like 2 or 3 women, saying whatever it takes to get them in the sack, whatever. You play farmer game, say, hey, I got to get up early tomorrow. You can't stay. You start going over their house. I want to fucking go. I don't want to sit around. Oh, will you just stay? Can't. I got to get up early. I got to work tomorrow. Oh, just stay. I'm like, all right. So I started staying, but I don't get a good night's sleep when I'm staying at girls. Now, this is not my life now. This is what I'm used to.
Sure.
I don't get a good night's sleep when I'm staying at a girl's house. That ain't gonna happen. So I'm taking Benadryl. You know, I'm going into her kitchen, slamming a shot or 2 of vodka just so I can get a little drowsy and get 2 friggin' hours of sleep before I leave. And then before I go, I at least got to shovel half her sidewalk and scrape the ice off her car, just as a way of thanks. You know, and then I do the walk of shame to my car. Get the hell out of Dodge.
Yeah.
I'm just giving you the words of an old player. That's all.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely have experienced plenty of that myself.
Yeah.
Always left unfulfilled.
Always.
Yeah, fulfilled in the moment for sure. And you know, I heard from David Hawkins. There's a video from David Hawkins where he says, someone says they used to love, he actually uses the name George. If someone says, I used to love George, but I don't anymore, it means that they never did love George. They had an emotional attachment, a bond. And when that bond was broken up comes a lot of negative emotion. And what he goes on to say is true love is a way of seeing the world. And, you know, as Christ would say, it's the kingdom of heaven within. And
Sure.
What I've noticed is that it's so, like, there's a part of me that wants that, you know, or as you say, the gorilla is just like, no, stay in the world, you know, enjoy it. And I learned a lot from Elliot speaking on matter, mother, maternity. These words are connected. It's the matrix. It's that motherly to stay into the world. But yeah, what would you say is the difference between lust and love?
Lust and love. Lust seeks what it wants. Love inquires what the other person wants. Lust is what I could get. That's what it's all about. I love it when a woman's on top. I love it. I love the visual. Holy crap, I love that visual. That is amazing. That is absolutely amazing. Nothing will happen on my part. I got to flip her over for something to happen. But for those 15, 20 minutes that she's just doing her thing, I love that. That's lust. Hardcore lust. But here's the thing. If I can stay up and she can ride me for 20 minutes, she's also participating in lust. Women have learned to give themselves their own orgasms now. That's why women get on you, because they feel like you can't give her one. So she's going to give it to herself on you. Women are in charge of their own sexuality. All she needs is a stiff one. That's all she needs. She don't need you. Simple as that. So you're being used just as much as, you know, she's being used. It's like the Bob Seger song. So, you know, I used her, she used me, but neither one cared. We were getting our share.
It's good. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of, you know, I see a lot of men virtue signaling. I've seen it throughout the years. I've always been aware of that. And I guess the next question I have is, how do you stand for what is right without virtue signaling? And what I guess while we're talking about this topic, you know, you see these guys who march along women, you know, the feminist movement of now, not before. And how obviously it has nothing to do with where they deep down, they won't admit it, but it's about getting in her pants. But at the same time, how to speak what is right, right? Like, you know, the abortion thing, like abortion is wrong, but how to not be, abortion is wrong, you know, to someone who's just gone through an abortion, right? Like how to not make them wrong, but stand for what's right. You know, I struggled with porn for a while. And to me, a coach would say to me, porn is not good, but he wouldn't shame me. In other words, like that loving father, which allows you to make your own mistakes and is always there for you when you're ready. So it's almost like, if you need to experience more pain, go for it. But so what would you say on for people who are like-minded in that sense, that they want to stand for what is right without being right, I guess you could say?
Well, one of the things that we know to be true about women, we like to say this: believe what she does, not what she says. That door swings in both directions. I'd rather live it than just say it. When I hear guys talk about how many women they've been with, I just kind of chuckle. Because I think, okay, I've been with a lot. I might have told 6 people in my whole life how many women. Maybe 6. Reason being, it's nothing to brag about. I'm ashamed of it. I'm ashamed. To me, that's not a, you know, there's videos on, I fucked 1,400 women. Good for you, buddy. Good for you. You want a standing ovation? So all you're doing is showing how much disrespect you have for yourself. If I had it to do all over again, I would love to have a high notch count with one woman. But of course, I say it now that I'm in the 60s. You couldn't have told me any different. But I was a pleasure freak. That's all. Pleasure freak. I had to have anywhere between 1 and 3 women on me a week. Had to. Even when I had a girlfriend, I still had a couple other side pieces. And what does that come with? A lot of lying and deceiving. So.
Well, I respect the shit out of you for your radical honesty. And I think, you know, I think you hit to a core point I've noticed in my life too. It's when you're just radically honest, it's people are radically honest about their own shit too. And I think, you know, I mean, ideally, that's why I asked that question, as far as it's not about me. Like, if you want someone not to be fat, hit the gym. Don't shame other people. And it's amazing to see all the toxicity. You know, it's crazy. And that's why I asked that question too, because while I'm trying to develop this channel on YouTube, I'm trying to be aware of not being, you know, I have advice to save you. You know, I watched the video that you had said the other day, and awesome. What you said was, I have a mentor who's 90 years old, I believe, and you said 30. and you were taking notes. And I saw that and I said, I respect that. And I share the same view. You know, I learned from my nephew who's in high school, and I learned from, you know, my father who's 70s. So and it's funny as I get older too. It's like I sit there and I say, I'm drawn to people who have no clue. Like not no clue, like obviously, you know, not that you're an idiot, but that people who have the attitude of maybe, right? Even the political, like everything that's going on, everyone knows this is the truth. This is the truth. This person is good. Everyone has it figured out. And those are the people who really have no clue. I know that I know nothing, right? The audacity to say that I have it figured out.
Right.
But it's almost, that to me is my enemy, because that's the one to me who, you know, like I speak, you know, I voted for Trump. I see how the media completely bashed him, and there's a part of me that like I just sat there and I said, if you zoomed in on a shitty part of my life, oh, can you hear me? Hey, we're good.
All right, we're back. Yeah.
All right. What was the last thing that you heard?
You were talking about a young mentor, someone that you listen to. Your father's in his 70s.
Oh yeah. Oh, and how, you know, the audacity that some people have, they have the truth. They have it all figured out. And what I'm noticed, how I'm drawn to, you know, when you had said that, is those who don't have it all figured out. You know, they have their moral principle, they have a foundation, respect, honor, so on. But there's not, I have it all figured out. And what I've noticed with, you know, not to get too political, but with the whole Trump thing, everybody wants to bash Trump. And I don't tell people how to think. You want to believe whatever you want to believe. But what I always say is just, if I were to zoom in on the worst part of your life, I can make you look horrible if I had the media. And
of course. Yeah.
And it's like my own sin binds me to not judging other people. My own ignorance.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, the manosphere, which is the fakest entity on this earth, is filled with that stuff. It's got nothing to do with men's development. It's nothing to do with men's growth. That's why I tell people, run from the manosphere. Get the hell out. It's nothing but trouble. Everyone has to do their time in the manosphere. Everybody's got.
Could you describe what the manosphere is, just for people?
It's a collection of factions of men. Everything from men like Elliot, work out, want to be the best version of themselves, all the way to hardcore women hating incels, guys who can't get laid, take it out on women and go and shoot up a woman's dorm or a yoga studio or something like that. You know, it's everything. It's a bunch of excuse making, castrated men. It's really the castratosphere. That's really what it is. You got your guys that just want to get laid. Everything's about getting laid. Then you got, you know, ask me how many women I fucked. And then you have the incels, ask me how many women I can't fuck. Then you got the MGTOW, fuck women. It's ridiculous. It's the biggest circle jerk you've ever seen. I tell people, stick with men's development as opposed to manosphere. Manosphere is a gay nightclub. That's what I say. The word sounds like a gay nightclub. It's the weirdest word I've ever heard.
And when you say men's development, you got men too. What do you mean by that?
Body, mind, and soul. Body, mind, and soul. There's guys that are natural bodybuilders. There's guys that are body weight guys. You ever see those guys like up in North Jersey, just doing like chin-ups and push-ups and shit?
It's funny you
Black
say that.
guys.
I'm in North Jersey.
And those guys fucking rock. Those bodies that they got, and they're doing like 600 push-ups, or they're doing like 200 muscle-ups, you know. And these were guys that were like break dancing like 10 years ago. You know, and they meet at these public parks, and they're just crushing it. That's a faction of men. That's cool. I like that. Then there's the guys that just do it all with iron, steel. Then there's the guys that do it with rubber bands. You know, and, if you use weights, you know, you're not as good as if you do body weight stuff. Bands, shit, bands ain't nothing. You know, then you got these guys like all slamming each other. It's like, you know what? How about this? It's called men's development, and you're developing yourselves. Some guys choose to do push-ups and dips, chin-ups. Other guys want to do, you know, dumbbell presses, bench press, deadlifts. That's fine. I'm happy that a guy's doing something for his body, period. I could care less how he's doing it. Doesn't, and I don't need to join a friggin' tribe. Screw your tribes. The whole tribal shit, that's just means that you're empty as shit. That joining a tribe means that you got nothing going on in your life, period.
And when you say tribe, what do you mean specifically?
Men joining tribes, like, we got to go through this together. Let's go out in the woods and start a fire, a bonfire. You know, scream at the top of our lungs, all this kind of stuff. Or the tribe of best version of myself, which just basically means shoot steroids in your ass once a week.
Yeah. So I guess that would be a good place. Just wanted to ask you one more question. You know, I definitely have found a lot of, I've come across David Goggins as of late, and Jocko Willink. And what I admire about, I mean, probably more so David Goggins, the guy's a beast. How, you know, in mommy world, it's all about feelings. It's all about feeling good. And it's not, you know, you had said it's not about not feeling the feelings, delaying the feelings. There's a time and a place. And I agree with that.
Correct.
You know, throwing all your, go ahead.
Delay your emotions, not deny them.
Yeah. And as I'm getting older, where I'm at right now, and I there's something I appreciate about how much pain can I take, you know, and you can bring it all the way to the cross, and it's not a masochism, right? Where it's you get to how much more pain can I take. It's in being involved in the gym, being involved in, you know, I've seen some people fast, but it's the intention behind it where it seems to be how much out of the world can I be where I'm not attached, and experiencing that. And then, you know, when you fast for 7 days or whatever it is, 3 to 5, and then you have a bite of an apple or whatever it is, you can really appreciate that. And I think that's a humbling experience. And, you know, Christ, 40 days, 40 nights, that kind of strength to be able to endure, I think, is a lost art. And that's something that I think you would agree, it's how much, which requires discipline, what's your pain tolerance as far as your ability to deal with difficulties is something I think is what makes a man too. Whereas women wired for emotions more so, feeling, sense of that security. And in my life, you know, I was raised by a single mother, and I'm seeing that now. She did the best that she could with what she had, but it wasn't what I needed. I needed somebody to challenge me, like you had said with the, you know, I believe you said with the bicycle, right? It's like I'm going to show you how to do it, but you're going to do it on your own. And I guess my question is, how do you be in the world but not of it?
I like to talk about the 3 S's: silence, solitude, and service. Having a weekend, no talking. I love silence. I love silence. I friggin' love silence. I protect it. I advocate it. Can you imagine not talking from Friday night to Sunday morning or Monday morning? Not when you get out of work on Friday afternoon, not saying a word until Monday morning when you go back to work. Not a lot of people can do that. Where you're only listening. And I'm not talking about listening to TV, Netflix, radio, downloads, nothing, silence. It drives the mind either totally crazy or you start receiving signals from God. Simple as that. We've drowned God out with electronics, with our phone. Can you imagine just putting your phone down from Friday to Monday? You end up with like FOMO by Saturday night. You're like, shit, I'm missing something here. So silence, solitude, being alone, not having to fill space physically or audibly, and then service. Working, hard work, splitting wood, wheelbarrows, putting up drywall, painting, no music. Can you imagine painting a room with no music? Usually you got the radio on, you're painting a room. People can't stand, or a podcast or something like that. Holy cow. Imagine just having a weekend and doing your household chores alone in complete silence. Most guys can't do that. If you can't master that, you can't do anything. Let's start with what we have in front of us. And that is, I have the ability to turn off the TV, turn off the radio, turn off the podcasts. I have the ability to say, yeah, I'm going to be alone this weekend. Now, I can't do anything this weekend. I got plans. What'd you do this weekend? Nothing. What do you mean nothing? I did nothing. I did my work. I did my laundry. I ate. I mean, how many times people make dinner and then they eat in front of the TV? Silence, solitude, and service. Unbelievable. Build a man's character. But you don't.
Yeah.
That's not very. It's not very Jocko, is it? You know, when I watch YouTube, I got to be like chewing on broken glass, and like crawling on my hands and knees over like Legos, you know, to become a man. Okay, whatever. It's fine.
It's funny you say that because I had a signal this year. What is a real alpha is the ability to stay calm. And that was something that you had said too in your speech. Calm energy, because overcomes a lot of, if you're calm, you can make your point.
100%.
Less words better. I think, was it Einstein who said, if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough.
Since I adopted the 3 S's, silence, solitude, and service, women are just literally, I have options, but my best option is me. Michael, it's Saturday night. I should be out getting laid right now. I should be, according to the world.
Yeah.
When I'm done with you, I'm going to go in, I'm going to make some dinner. I'm going to come back out here, probably going to read a book. I have a bunch of books here. Probably going to pick out a book. Probably going to fire up a cigar, maybe have something to drink. Get a good night's sleep. Wake up tomorrow. It's my day of rest. I feel good. I feel good. I'm an option. You know, the women will start texting. Actually, the women started texting last night. And I was just friendly. But I had to work early today, so I got to bed early last night. No desire to go out tonight. I'm an option. I'm my best option. But the idea is to have options and not paint yourself into a corner. And one of the best ways you can do that is by living your own life quietly, not arrogantly, humbly, because you know your life could end at any moment. It's a great way to live. It's a great way to live. And you have your choice of people that you want. It's amazing. The choice that you have in life when you live like that, the choices that you have, it's just amazing. Chick flakes out on you. Oh, good. I get to stay home tonight, read a book, get a good night's sleep, not have to spend $200. How many guys think like that?
Not many.
Yeah, exactly. You start swiping. Chick
Yeah.
flakes out on you. Boom, back on Bumble. Swiping. Let me tell you something about women. They don't change. When they get to be my age, the only thing that's different about a woman my age than a woman your age is gray hair. That's it. Gray hair women flake out just as much as the young women do. Gray hair women say, I don't kiss on the first date. Just want you to know, I don't kiss on the first date. By the end of the night, she's giving you a BJ in your car. Same thing. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. You think things get better as you get older? They don't.
Yeah, that was a big epiphany for me. When I got older, I thought my parents had it all figured out. You know, when that earth shattering moment, they don't know as much. They don't.
They're
I know
winging
the same.
it.
Yeah.
They're winging it. So the only thing you have control over is yourself. People will always let you down 100% of the time. People will always let you down. Just don't let yourself down. Don't let yourself down.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Bruno, I appreciate you taking the time to speak. I know you said you had about an hour, and just as a follow-up, you can be found on georgebruno.com and George Bruno Experience on Facebook. And I believe you have events coming up.
I was going to be at an event, but it's on 9/11. I'm not going to go. I don't want to be anywhere in 9/11 except my own home.
Yeah.
So I'm just not interested in any potential issues.
Yeah, I understand.
In large gatherings on 9/11, so I decided to stay home.
But other than that, the 21 convention, is that going to be? I'm not too familiar with it.
Yeah, I don't do the 21 convention anymore.
Okay.
And, it's just not something I do anymore. But there's all kinds of cool men's events. There's the Fraternity of Excellence. There's the Liminal Order. There's the War Room. Events aren't all they're cracked up to be. Private men's communities really are the way to go. They're the place to be. Join a private men's community. I just gave you 3 of them: the War Room, Fraternity of Excellence, or Liminal Order. One of those 3. Fantastic places. Then they have meetups. These 3 groups will have meetups. It's not a convention. It's not a conference.
Yeah.
No. Join a men's group. They'll have a Zoom meeting on a Saturday morning with 20 guys on a Zoom call like this that might be focused on parenting or money, whatever Zoom room you want to be in that day. You know, there's a bunch running at all times.
Yeah.
You know, you want to travel, there's a travel Zoom. Depends on what group you join. You know, if you want to lose weight, it's there. But private men's communities are where it's at, 100%. No virtue signaling, no bullshit, no macho manosphere stuff. Private men's communities are where it's at. That's where the skeletons dance. In the private men's communities. 100% recommend any of those things that I just gave you.
Yeah, and as well as you do YouTube live streams, and I've seen some of them, and I appreciate those as well.
Yeah, that's how most people know, is through YouTube.
All right, thank you, Mr. Bruno.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.